Dear YouTube, we mutually benefit from a forum that is seen to be open and fair. Cheaters diminish the YouTube experience. It is primarily for this reason that I bring this matter to your notice. Whenever one's attention is brought to a channel which has watched zero videos, and is subscribed to 5 channels, one's eyebrow is raised. I mean, is that even possible when some of those channels are YouTube partners with autoplay enabled? If one investigates still further, it is found that there are dozens of generic, dormant, blank accounts that vary in how long ago they were set up, from years to months ago, and that they all came alive 2 weeks ago to subscribe to the same 5 channels and then return to dormancy. This alone denotes a bot. Humans just don't behave in such patterns, especially given the narrow time window. And if one investigates still further, one finds that many of these accounts apparently belong to seriouses, suggesting that they were in turn set up by bots, probably by a third party, and they include such conspicuous names as Sock and Pseudonym. Now, allow me to give you an account of what I believe to have happened. Some months ago, How the World Works hid his subscribers list. I then suspect at some later time he purchased subscriptions from a third party for the 5 channels you see here. While How the World Works was safe because he had hidden his subscribers list, the same was not true of some of the others, which were largely inactive accounts, and this was the origin of the cheat being exposed. Other users, suspicious of the activity, went through and examined these subscriptions and found the above pattern. When they first blew the whistle, all of these accounts put their subscribers lists to private. Now, I believe How the World Works was the protagonist here due to his connections with these organizations and his hostile response, which was to essentially deny the obvious that these were SOC accounts set up and controlled by a bot. This was How the World Works' response.
Several SOC accounts. The only problem is these SOC accounts that he claims to be mine are not mine at all. And I'm going to explain this in just a second. This is a real subscriber. This is also a real subscriber. These are all real subscribers. He's claiming these are fake SOC accounts. These are all real subscribers. These are more of my real subscribers. He goes on claiming that these are fake accounts. These are all real subscribers. Now, let me explain why they all happen to subscribe to the same ones. You ready for this one? I am a YouTube partner with branding privileges. That allows me, if anybody subscribes to my channel, they can also be asked at the same time simultaneously, would they also like to subscribe to other channels? Let me show you. You see, if someone subscribes to me, they're also asked if they like to subscribe to Bureaucrash. I work at Bureaucrash. I also work at CEI. They're asked if they'd like to subscribe to those channels too. And Policy Translated, which is also part of CEI. And I'm friends with Steven Crowder, and people are asked if they'd like to subscribe to Steven Crowder. That's why they all subscribe to those same accounts, you idiot.
Plausible deniability simply lacks credibility here. A reasonable man would have at least conceded the undeniable pattern, but announced his lack of involvement if innocent. However, interestingly, some of the SOC accounts which had been dormant for years, other than a burst of life 2 weeks ago to subscribe to all of these same 5 channels, then sprang into life with How the World Works' net persona to protest their existence. How the World Works tends to use short, abusive sentences, typically phrased as a statement of fact. How the World Works tends to use terms of status such as expert and genius in a pejorative sense. I'm not the only person to have noticed this characteristic. The Young Turks can be pretty mean to some people, but I've never heard them insult someone directly in a conversation. Lee does this all the time by being sarcastic and condescending, e.g. genius or he's a joke. Lee is a pretty arrogant person, really. And it was in this format that the channel created in April 2007, and which had no activity until this matter came up, then came alive and posted comments on other videos and favorited and featured videos and responded to its detractors in a fashion resembling How the World Works. So the question is, what, if anything, should be done? Now, we all have our objectives here on YouTube, but one of those that is of mutual benefit is a well-maintained forum that is seen to be a fair and level playing field. Now, I don't have access to the logs that you do, and even if I did, it would be of diminished use if a third party is involved, but the obvious place to start would be the subscribers of the essentially inactive Policy Translated channel. I should also mention that it is of peripheral interest that Lee Doran, who has openly announced that he is the runner of the How the World Works channel, is also the crasher-in-chief of an organisation known as Bureaucrash, which is described by one of its members as...
Wikipedia describes Bureaucrash as, quote, an international network of libertarian activists whose stated goals are decreasing the scope of government and increasing individual freedom, unquote. Basically, they use internet marketing and PR stunts to get out the message of freedom. In 2006, they were merged with the Competitive Enterprise Institute, but now the Institute has appointed a controversial new Bureaucrasher-in-chief who describes himself as a conservative/libertarian.
Lee Doran has also announced that his primary goal on YouTube is to make money.
I just read that people are making $100,000 a year on YouTube. I want to see if this is true. I know I can offer a lot to the YouTube viewers. Can bring a lot of insight to a lot of the news articles that you're seeing in the news that you won't hear from anybody else. Click over here in the sidebar and subscribe immediately. Today is the new year, and I just want to thank everybody who subscribed to my new channel, How the World Works. Everyone knows that I was hoping to get around 200 subscribers by today. I got around 330. So everyone who subscribed, thanks a lot. And if you haven't subscribed, go over to How the World Works and subscribe right now. I'm going to be offering some promotional prizes for subscribers, and I'm going to be creating some new videos, so you're going to want to check them out. Go over there, subscribe to How the World Works. Hope you have a good new year.
I think that a reasonable case can be made that How the World Works has indeed been cheating. Sure, it's small-time stuff from a small-time guy, albeit a YouTube partner. But this really isn't about the numbers. It's about YouTube being seen to maintain a fair and level playing field and to deal with cheats appropriately. I leave this matter for your consideration. Best wishes, Thunderfoot.